Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at this, which is the NECA Retro Cloth The Fog Captain Blake figure. So this is a figure that I've been interested in picking up for quite some time. Last year I did for the first time watch The Fog, the original one from the 70s, with my good friend Lee, and have to admit it was a very enjoyable and sometimes quite scary film. The scene at the end where all of the I'm not sure what to call them really, ghosts are present in the church and all with their red glowing eyes, and it is a really, really effective scene. So I was quite intrigued when I saw this NECA figure for the first time, and of course the big elephant in the room is this retro cloth figure, as well as including cloth clothing, which is awesome, actually includes light up red eyes. So I thought that's really, really cool, and I would be really interested to see what that would look like on the shelf. So I decided to pick up my friend one of these for his birthday, and then thought, you know what, I may as well have one as well. So I decided to pick up one for myself, and here we go. So we're finally going to get around to reviewing it. So we'll take a quick look at the packaging. For some reason, my packaging seems to be really, really dirty. It's probably just been in storage for a little bit, but as you can see, you've got this very, very awesome artwork here. The Fog title there, you got the lighthouse with Captain Blake and his other ghouls behind him. And you can see you've got NECA Real Toys warning 17 and up. You've got the figure, which is nicely displayed in this viewing window. And it's got this kind of, this is how retro toys used to look. You'd have the toy and then you'd have a card back sort of thing, which has been very nicely recreated here, as you can see. So you can view the figure from all angles if you want to. And then on the back, you have the Fog. It doesn't actually mention Captain Blake's name, which my friend said is a sign that they're sadly not going to make any more from this line. So unfortunately, this might just be all we're getting, but it does say here, featuring light up eyes, tattered fabric, Cutlass, and Scabbard. And then you have this sort of brief description of the character, which you can pause the video right now if you want to read it. You've got all the legal stuff here. The artwork is courtesy of Cavity Colors, and the artwork is very, very cool. All the legal stuff and the year it was released, 2018, but I do have the 2021 version, as you can tell by the barcode there. So I imagine that's just a reissue of it. But anyway, enough about the packaging. Let's get on to the figure itself. One thing I will say about this packaging is I absolutely hate how you open it, and these like things here always break. So if you're a mint-in box collector, you might want to consider keeping this in the box, because there's no guarantee you'll ever be able to close it again. But anyway, let's move on to getting the figure out of the box. I'll be back in just a moment. Okay guys, so here we have Captain Blake out of the box. So just showing you the absolute state of the box first. As you can see, every single one of these little clamp things broke, and it's really just the shape of that that's holding it in. Honestly, I tore every single one of them, so you can kind of reseal the box, but as you can see, it looks very split and quite tattered. And then once you open up this piece of plastic, the figure will be contained nicely within this little bit along with his accessories, so you can easily pop him back in there if you want to, just to keep him a bit safer. I'll just take a look at the two accessories that he comes with. He does come with some of this silica gel, so you know, you can use that for his fabric if you want to. And he does come with his Cutlass, which looks very, very nice. It's got like a nice silver with a sort of rust brown wash over the top, and I really love the way in the sculpt they've included those chiseled bits, so you know the sword looks old and possibly used quite a lot. Then on the handle you've got these very nice details. You've got a nice shiny gold here with a brown handle and the 3 silver screws. Just makes it look very, very good. And then another accessory is his scabbard, which also looks very, very weathered, very nice. You have the blue buckle, which is also present on his costume as well. And then you've got sort of lighter brown bit at the top and the bottom, but you've just got this really, really nice weathered texture that has been highlighted with a lighter brown wash, and it's very, very cool. And the sword can be easily slotted into that for storage. Very little effort, doesn't fall out. It's actually very, very good. And this will clip onto his belt here, but we'll get onto that after taking a look at the figure. Also, just to show you quickly, this is what the card looks like when you take it out. So on the shelf, you could use this as a backdrop if you wanted to, but personally, I think he'd just look better as is. And so here we have Captain Blake, and my god, does this look creepy. So I'm not gonna lie, this is a really, really impressive piece. I absolutely love the rotted zombie look that he has. I love the beard, I love the teeth showing through. They've all been highlighted with this very good wash, and then you've got this sort of glossiness here around the mouth and where you can see the skin's missing on the face, so it does make the inside of his mouth look a bit shinier and glossy. And then you've got the sort of lighter skin areas which look very dry, as it would if you were decomposing. Very, very cool, but I still love that they've kept the eyebrows, so he still looks kind of angry. I'm not going to lie, even though he does come with the light up feature, the way the plastic is with the eyes, when you shine light in it, it does still make it look as though they're kind of glowing. So whether the eyes are off or on, you can still tell that they're red, which is very cool. You've got a very nice amount of detail with the hair, a lot of nice washing. I know a lot of people are going to be annoyed about this battery compartment at the back, but, you know, I would assume you're going to face the figure this way, you know, not like that or anything, so it is quite difficult to spot. As you can see, this is the tab that will come in there when you take him out the box, just to stop you from wasting the batteries. I personally don't want to throw this away because you can always reinsert it. It's just a better way of preserving your batteries, but once you pull that out, you will be able to use the electronics via the little switch there, and there is a little screw just to help you open the compartment to replace the batteries. And this head is still fully articulated. However, I can't get it to go forward that far because, as you can see, all of the electronics are there, so there was no way they were going to be able to put a ball joint in this head, but you can twist it all the way around, as well as actually look forward and back ever so slightly. So the fact that you can still do that when there's electronics in the head is really, really good, especially for the size. The clothing is very well done. I love the way they've got this kind of metallic purple over the figure. It's really, really cool. It's present on the face, the hands, and even the clothing just kind of brushed on there. And when it's caught in the light, it really does light up and give the figure this kind of ghostly appearance. Very, very cool. And you can see the strap with all the different buckles on his belt. This piece here is what his scabbard will connect to. You can see that you've got the fabric, and underneath that you've got all the sculpting on his wrists. Now, it isn't sculpted all the way up, it just kind of becomes smooth plastic, but that bit's covered anyway. You can see you've still got those blues kind of on top of the fabric, and those little extra painted details, but I really appreciate how much effort they've put into the sculpting, especially on the hands. You've got that purple again, you've got these more withered spaces, very cool. You've got artificial pockets, so they don't function, but that's okay. My one complaint is, unfortunately, the fabric on this side is maybe a little bit too weathered, and because of how it was in the packaging, it was pushed up. Sadly, it is always going to be like that, but who knows, maybe over time I will be able to get it to drape down. You can see that they've made it all cut and torn at the bottom just to give it that really aged and withered look, and you can also see that the PVC plastic straps do continue around the back. Very, very cool. I have to say his collar does look very good. Unfortunately though, what is a common problem with a lot of retro cloth figures is you do sometimes get those little strands of fabric. Now, you could always cut those with a pair of scissors, but you know, you don't want to cut too much. As you can see underneath there, you do have the detail of his neck, but the detail does stop once you get to a certain level because it is covered by the clothing. But if you do push his collar aside, you can see that. Going down to the trousers aren't tucked into the boots, unfortunately, so sometimes they can reveal the leg underneath, but this is very difficult to spot on mine, and they are at the correct level, so it is seamless for the most part. and the boots do look really nice. You got a lot of nice texture, and with this very nice light wash on there to really highlight the details. Very, very good. Absolutely love that. So overall, for detail, this figure is actually pretty incredible. So before we move on to the light up features, let's just take a quick look at his articulation. So as previously mentioned, the head can swivel all the way around. However, just be careful with his hair. It can look backward and forward ever so slightly, but don't force this because, as I say, there are electronics in there. His shoulders are ball jointed, so you can bring them right the way out to the side, as well as go forward and back. However, the fabric is going to hinder movement, so just be careful. You do have a single bend at the elbow, a full 360 at both hands, as well as forward and backwards because they're on hinges. There is a swivel at the waist, but there is not an ab crunch, so don't try and force him forward and back, but he can rotate slightly at the waist. The legs can kick forward, not too far because they are hindered by the fabric once again. You can also bring them out so you can do the splits, and thankfully there is also a swivel there because there is no rotation at the top of the boot. So if you want to adjust your boots, because mine actually came in the packaging like this, so I did have to heat him up with a hairdryer just so that I could swivel his legs out, make him look more natural, but I was able to do that. I don't recommend that you put this guy in the freezer. If you're having trouble with joints, then just use a hairdryer because, you know, you don't want to damage the electronics. And lastly, the boots can go up and down, which is my biggest disappointment with this figure. I don't think the foot articulation is very good, and unfortunately because of that, the figure does suffer when it comes to standing, but after a bit of fiddling about, you can get him to stand just fine. So last but ever so not least, guys, I'm going to show you how to use the light up features with the eyes, and also how to attach the scabbard to your figure. So we'll take out the sword, and then you just want to get hold of the little PVC strap here, and you can see that on one side of the scabbard there is a peg, so make sure it's facing the right way, and then simply just plug your peg into it. Now I found that this can be quite fiddly, especially on first attempt, but I will do my best. And it should just pop in, and it is held on there very securely, so that's awesome. It really just completes the look. And then you can choose to have the sword in his hand or slotted very neatly into the scabbard like so. And what's also great about it being on a peg is you can move it backwards if you want to, you know, just to give it a bit more room. And I'm sure with some adjusting you could make it look as though he was removing his sword. That might be a really good look. So we'll just remove the sword, and you can place it into his left hand. I think this is his his right hand. Knew I was going to mess that up. Which has been sculpted to hold it. Now I just want to be a bit careful because the sword is quite thin. You always got to be careful when putting NECA accessories in their hands. But as you can see, you can hold his sword very nicely and get him in many different pirate or action poses if you so wish. So lastly, guys, let's take a look at the light up feature. So as I've shown you on the back, you have your switch. Now this is a bit fiddly because, as you can see, the switch doesn't really stick out from the sculpt. I've found it's easier to turn it off than it is on, but once you flip it to the other side, you are going to have his very, very bright lit up eyes. And if I didn't think they were bright looking at them, they look so much bright on the camera. I mean, how awesome does that look? I mean, I'm a huge fan of Call of Duty Zombies, and this is how their eyes light up. So, you know, it does kind of give me that vibe, but that is absolutely brilliant. So as you can see, any angle that you show it at, it's very bright, but looking straight at the camera, it just lights up unbelievably. Very, very cool. And I'll definitely be doing some photography in the dark after this video, just to kind of show you guys the full effect. But that is very, very cool. And then to switch it off again, you just flip it back the other way. And to be honest, even when it's switched off, like I say, the light does shine on the red plastic, so you can still tell that the eyes are red, but when it's lit up, it's just a whole new experience. You know, it's actually very, very creepy in the dark. So very, very well done by NECA. So overall, what do I think of the NECA Retro Cloth Captain Blake? To sum it up, it's a very, very cool figure. I love the clothing, I love the detail, the articulation is fine for what it is, but most importantly of all, I absolutely adore the light up feature of the eyes. It's so, so cool. I think that alone makes this figure worth picking up. Now, normally I'm not really a collector of the retro the Retro Cloth line. I'm more of a fan of just the 7-inch Ultimates, but I must admit this is one of those rare occasions, much like the Halloween 2 Michael Myers, where I do occasionally dip my toe into this line and just pick up some really, really cool figures, this being one of them. The light up features just really make this toy unique, and if you're a fan of the Fog, or even a casual fan, I would say this figure is definitely worth picking up. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this review. Let me know down in the comments below what you think. Do you like this figure? Would he make a good decoration for Halloween? Like, would it be worth just getting him out of the shelf or wherever you keep him and just putting him on the fireplace for Halloween when you have some friends over? I think that'd be really cool. So make sure to leave the video a like, guys. Hit the subscribe so you don't miss a single video. Thanks ever so much for watching, guys. Stay safe and happy wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.